The Damned are on their way to New Zealand with 2 shows scheduled for Auckland and Wellington. The veteran punk band is on a creative high, having just released a new album titled Darkadelic. Here is guitarist Captain Sensible to tell us what to expect when they play New Zealand, and to tell us how Lemmy saved the band when they were thinking about calling it quits. But first, let's hear about the last time the Damned were in New Zealand.
You used to be brave, you used to be strong. So many stories sung in your song.
We've done some gigs in New Zealand about 20 odd years ago, and afterwards I rented a car for a week, and I drove around, and I was gobsmacked because I only did the North Island,
Right.
but I was driving into little villages, and there were people playing cricket on the green, and then there was it was all it was very had a flavour of the 50s to it, There's still got the canopies outside the shops.
Yep.
And I mean, in Auckland, you've still got that, haven't you? Down that hip area, it's still got all the canopies and
Yep.
amongst all the Buddhist kind of vegetarian places and everything. What is that area called? I can't remember.
There's Brito Mart, maybe that's what you're thinking of.
Yeah.
Or Ponsonby, or
Ponsonby. I tell you what, this is the best food court I've ever been to in the world, and it's the Ponsonby Road International Food Court.
Been there several times
amazing.
myself. Yeah, it's great. Yes, sir. I'm just down the street from there. I'm right near the place where you're going to play at the power station, right around the corner.
Oh, okay.
So it's a great little neighborhood here as well. So yeah, so
because it used to be all about the booze for us, the booze and the degenerate lifestyle. Nowadays, it's the food. I go around. I could write reviews for magazines and stuff. It's just I'm just turned in a total foodie.
Oh, great.
Blah, blah,
well, yeah. Well, the best restaurant in the country is directly below me. It's called the French Cafe. So stop in. It's right across near the gig where you are. So you're all set to go.
Oh, I can't stand posh restaurants.
Oh.
If anyone calls me sir, is the food up to your usual high standards, sir? It's red rag to a bull, because the old punk rocker in me comes out, and I clear off and take your Michelin-starred nosh with you. I want some decent food.
Right. Well, we got a Korean place next door called Kokoro, which you'll probably like better. They'll definitely won't call you sir there. So what can we expect when you come here to play at the power station? What kind of shows are you guys putting on these days?
Right. Well, it's we could write several different set lists for different styled shows. Really, you could have a really dark goth set list, which is devoid of any raunchy punk rock, or the Damned has been going for quite a while now, and we've been through sort of a few changes.
Yep.
But so
I bought this when it came out.
Yeah, writing a set list is not easy. So sometimes we've been known to we give some sheets of A4 paper to the fans outside, before they come in, and say, "You write the set list, and we compile one from that." Really
nice.
But no, it'll be a mixed bag of stuff. There'll be some of the new album, Darkadelic, will be on there. But the old favourites,
Yep.
It's all good stuff. And plenty of jamming possibilities in the set as well. So, I'm lucky enough to play. I play guitar, and we've got this keyboard player called Monty Oxymoron, and he's the kind of improvised genius. So we get a little bit prog rock occasionally.
I picked up on that on the new record. I was like, oh my God, what's going on here? That's not punk rock. We were against all that back in the day.
Well, the thing was, we were against kind of gratuitous, like boring drum and guitar solos, of which there was. I mean, they used to play a drum solo for like sort of 8 or 9 minutes. Some of these bands, and that is just that's over the top. But if I'm overstepping the mark, then Mr. Vanian, the singer, he starts looking at his watch and tapping it and said, "Well, it was working when I came on the stage, ladies and gents." And so he takes the piss out of me.
So you guys, the two of you have been working together for forever. What is the glue that keeps the two of you on speaking terms?
Well, yeah. it's just that old classic, guitar player trying to steal the limelight from, a good-looking front guy.
Right.
That's the dynamic, really, and I want more than my fair share of the spotlight, and I've developed techniques of doing that over many years, by dressing in outlandish clothes,
Right.
behaving badly, picking arguments with members of the audience. I don't know, just being generally over the top. It seems to work, so why fix it?
Yeah. And of course, you did that reunion with the original band members a couple of months ago. How did that go? How did it...
Well, that was genuinely a really, really nice experience to actually to make up with my old comrades, who I mean, there was a lot of bad blood over the years.
Yeah,
it was quite unpleasant, really, and I can't even remember what most of the arguments were about. It's just it's decades ago, decades now, because we're so old, but it was really nice to become chummy with them again. And the only mistake we made really was only doing 5 shows.
Yeah, what the heck?
I suppose the thinking was, it's going to implode before too long. So better not tempt fate and get cancellations. So hopefully, if everyone stays alive long enough, we go out and do it again.
That would be very nice. I'd love to see that, because I remember when the Velvet Underground did the same thing in the early 90s. And they had the same problem. They toured Europe, did a handful of shows, and then broke up again before they'd come to the States. Really pissed me off.
Yeah, well, it's funny, isn't it? When you're in a band for that long, that it's like, if you're in a marriage, you can get divorced, but if you're in a band, you just can't.
Yeah.
Because the name of the band is what sells tickets, and unfortunately, you're kind of locked into this kind of grim, kind of never-ending nightmare if it goes pear-shaped.
Right. So, but you've had a few dabblings outside of the damn name. Have you enjoyed those? Have you got any other ones coming up? What are you thinking about?
Any what? Sorry?
Dabblings, musical dabblings, and things that you've done under your own name or not under the Dam's name.
I tend not to do that so much these days because. Because I don't like working much, I just
fair enough.
I mean, having said that, after the lockdown years, I'm absolutely raring to go.
Right.
And I mean, for those 2 years, I didn't know what to do with myself, because I've lived in a rock and roll kind of on the road bubble, for so long. Real life, and like sort of trundling down the road to the supermarket, it doesn't really work for me. The only lifestyle I know is get the guitar out of the case, do the sound check, drink the beer, make a horrible noise, drink more beer, go to bed, and wake up and do it all again the next day in some new town. And so I'm so looking forward to jumping on the plane and getting out and doing it.
Right. So tell me a little bit about Darkadelic, about the making of that. Did you guys have a concept in mind going into making the record? Because it is a kind of a concept-y, kind of gothy thing. Did you have discussions like that, or did you just see what happened?
The only thing we decided really before we started writing was Mr. Vanian's idea was, let's make this one kind of a little bit more psychedelic and a bit more guitar-y. Right. So we were writing. I just saw that as license to write guitar parts, So that's basically what I did. So it's one song. I mean, it's 2 songs that I've got 2 solos in it. So is that greedy? Probably.
Was it one of them, Motorcycle Man?
I'll be your man, be your man, be your motorcycle man. We got one life, got to live it, got to get it while we can. Come take a ride and leave this world behind. Be my motorcycle girl, I'll be your motorcycle man. Yeah. Motorcycle man,
that's got a nice little solo at the end.
I noticed that. You almost went into kind of Allman Brothers mode there. I thought you were going to jam a little bit. I was getting frightened.
Yeah, yeah. I do like all that sort of 70s rock stuff. It's still
Right.
because that's what I was buying when I was growing up,
Yeah,
and
same here.
I always thought that one day I might, if I practice a bit, I might end up in a band like that,
Right,
or
right.
Slade or Sweet or you know something like that. Anyway, by the time I'd learned to play a little bit, a completely new music was coming in, and they didn't want any bloody guitar solos. So that was a waste of time, wasn't it?
Yeah. Yeah, really. So, speaking of Motorcycle Man, it's followed by two songs that you wrote, I believe, "Girl, I'll Stop at Nothing" and "Leader of the Gang," which are kind of a couple of my favorites on the record. So maybe you can elaborate a little. Do you have anything to tell me about those two?
Rock and roll guitar, frantic drumming, pounding out the beat, manic drumming, knock you off your feet, places jumping. When you were the leader of the gang, yeah. These days.
Well, Leader of the Gang is about the glam rock singer whose name we cannot utter anymore because because of his awful behaviour, and he's actually in prison now.
I saw him at the London Rock and Roll Show in Wembley in '72, and he was performing Richie Valens' Donna completely off key and was pelted with beer cans on stage. It was fantastic.
Fantastic. Yeah, I mean, I used to watch him. I mean, you cannot, forgive him for what he's done, but
No.
the music is still unassailable and so influential to so many, of the punk rock gang. Adam Ant was a fan. I mean,
Right.
that's where the two drummer thing came from.
Yeah.
And I was a huge fan. So, I mean, we've been like sort of borrowing his riffs for many years now.
Yeah. Well, he won't be using them anymore. So there you go.
No, not where he is.
And what about "Girl, I'll Stop at Nothing"? Anything you can tell me about that?
I tell the lumber from the trees, know me, this pantomime. The sun is up, get off your knees. By now, for sure it must be past the time. Girl, I'll stop at nothing. Girl, I'll stop at nothing. Girl, sure there must be something. Girl, I'll stop at nothing.
Yeah, it's a bit of a rocker, and that was just another kind of guitar workout, really. I mean, and there's some fuzz guitar on there, and it's quite primitive, really. The riff, because Dave and myself, we're really into garage punk,
Right. Yep.
late 60s style, the Electric Prunes, the Chocolate Watch Band, the Seeds.
Well, I see they're doing a Nuggets 50th reunion show in California very soon, and you guys are heading over there, so you might even be there at the same time it's happening. If I was there, I'd be going.
Yeah. If there's any possibility, I will.
Yeah, it should be pretty well. I think Lenny Kaye is hosting it, and anybody who's still alive that was on the original record will be there. The Electric Prunes and whoever.
Yeah.
Dells, or I don't know. Yeah. Did you listen to a lot of that Nugget stuff when you were growing up?
Very much so, yeah. It still sounds fresh to my ears,
Yeah.
in a way that some rock music, sounds stodgy, but the old Nuggets kind of fuzz and farfisa sound, it's just marvelous, really. To a certain extent, that's what we're trying to recreate on Darkadelic.
Yep, I heard a bit of farfisa in there, or something that sounds like it. These days you can't tell what's what, but it sounded like it, and that's a cool sound. Yeah. So what are you planning next, recording wise? You thinking about the next record already?
Yes, yeah. Because the label quite pleased with this one. They're going to let us make another. So,
There you go.
which is a rare thing, really. The Damned usually last about one album on
Right.
each label, and then you get the golden elbow.
Yep.
But that was partly that was basically because of our bad behaviour. We used to go along and get drunk and wreck the offices, you know. But we don't do that anymore. So so they're going to let us make another one, and we're going to do an album of covers.
Oh, cool.
Probably. Yeah.
Will they be nuggets?
There would be some of that sort of stuff on there. Yeah. There'll be all our favourites, you know, from the good old days, and you know, I mean, there's plenty of. I mean, rock and roll's been going for a long time now, so there's plenty of material to choose from.
There
But
is
it won't
quite a
be
bit.
the obvious ones.
Okay.
You know,
Yeah.
being us.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned about getting thrown off a label. I see you guys started out on Stiff, moved to Chiswick. Did you get thrown off of both of those labels?
Yeah, we got thrown off a Stiff. Yeah, unceremoniously. It was a bit of shock to me because
What
I thought
happened?
we were. Well, what you know, we delivered the second album, and then they obviously didn't like it much because they gave us the push, and then we found ourselves homeless and didn't know what to do with myself, and so yeah, somehow it came together again. Oh, that's right, Lemmy saved us. Lemmy from Motorhead. We were all broke and we didn't know what to do. Because we'd lost our leader, Brian James,
Right.
who'd written all the material for the first two albums, and we were considered to be washed up.
Yeah.
You know, none of us had ever written a song before, and we said to Lemmy, "Look, there's only three of us. We haven't got a bass player. Would you jump in and we'll do a gig in London and make some money so we can pay the bills, you know, or maybe buy a train ticket instead of like." Bunking the fare, getting chased by ticket collectors. So he said, yeah, gentlemen. He said, let's write a set list and I'll be there, So very, very nice of him. And it was so successful. We thought, oh, may as well keep it going. And then we started writing tunes and that worked as well. So we've been quite lucky, really.
Well, let's hear it for Lemmy. Good on him.
Yeah, good old Lemmy.
Excellent. All righty. Well, I can't wait to see you guys when you get down here again, around the corner to the power station, and hopefully you can find some decent places to eat while you're here.